With me is Wayne DUVENAGE, Chairman of OUTA, originally the opposition to Urban Tolling Alliance, which has broadened its scope to become the organisation undoing tax abuse. Wayne, welcome to the Truckx show. Tell us, is South Africa on the low road to economic meltdown, or are we pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps?
Well, I think if we carry on doing what we're doing, we are going to go down the low road. But I do sense that we are pulling ourselves up. I think the fact that society and the media is challenging the status quo, is challenging the way that government manages this country, is challenging service delivery, is taking on the Sanrails, the Escoms of the world, is a good sign. And if we can get the officials and the authorities to realize that their role is to serve and serve us better and demand better service, then we will get there. But what we need...
Do you think we're moving in that direction?
Not fast enough. I think business needs to come on board more. And when I say business, I'm talking big business. These are the people that pay over the VAT, the PAYEs, the few organizations that pay over 80% of that are still a little bit apprehensive about challenging government, about ensuring that we get value for money from our authorities. That's not happening enough. There are a lot of business associations and organizations out there, but they're not doing what they should be doing. So when you find NERSA asking for input from society on the methodology of the NYPD, and business is absent, is missing, it's a very, very serious concern.
Though OUTA has broadened its scope this year, it remains at the forefront in the fight against e-tolls. More than 3 years after the battle began, what indication is there that civil activism will triumph over Sanral?
Well, it has triumphed. It has triumphed completely. This is the first big case of citizens standing their ground on a law that was passed where government said you now must pay, and they didn't pay. They have averaged no more than 25% compliance. The max they got to was 40% compliance in June 2014. And essentially, society has said, no, we disagree. The scheme is irrational. It is costly, it's cumbersome, it is not working, and we're not going to participate. Nobody has been sentenced. Recently, Sanral and the state launched the biggest state victimization campaign of trying to force people by sending summonses out, 6,500 of them. Well, we hear that that's going to have to be undone. They've done it incorrectly, and that's through OUTA challenging, defending its members. And maybe a test case will come, but quite frankly, the scheme has failed and it will never work. They have to find another way. And there are other ways. And there are very efficient ways, by the way. Had we have used the fuel levy when they started building the road in 2008, do you know that by today, that 9-cent fuel levy would have already paid for this Gauteng Freeway project? At the inflated rate, by the way.
Which is
it's double. So it's absolutely crazy that they're still not looking at this.
What does OUTA consider to be the main drivers of conflict between the state and its citizens on the road and elsewhere?
Well, it's that we're not getting value for money. You know, we're paying good taxes, and yet we don't see the return and the value. So when you have a Medupi 5 years late, costing 400-500% more than it should, there's a big concern. The same thing happening with Kusile. When you see the state wanting to bring in nuclear in a rushed manner without involving the citizens, the same thing with the Gauteng Freeway project. All the long-distance routes are a problem. There's a big concern around what's happening. Education, health, and we need to get that value back from the taxes put in.
What do you think South Africa needs to make its roads safer?
Well, it needs enforcement. It need, you know, we're 6 years into the decade of action on road safety, and here we are with the death rate still not going backwards, going in the wrong direction, and we don't have enforcement. We do not have meaningful enforcement. Sadly, I think what's happening is that road safety is being treated as a revenue-generating mechanism as opposed to an enforcement mechanism. So when towns and metros see traffic fines and traffic camera infringement processes are putting money into their coffers as opposed to really driving road safety, stopping this nonsense where it's just getting out of hand at the moment, then we have a problem. So we don't have the right mindset in the leadership, right from the top at Department of Transport, filtering down through the RTIA. And so you can have all the best systems like R2 and place an R2 on the face of it looks good. But when it comes down to the practical implementation, it just doesn't work.
Wayne, thank you very much for coming into the studio. We do appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having me. Cheers.